Hi guys, it's Morgan. Just getting this recording in. This experiment was kind of interesting since at first, when I first saw the title, I was like, is it going to have toothpaste in it? Not at all. The elephant toothpaste experiment does not include toothpaste. It includes warm water, yeast, soap, dish soap, hydrogen peroxide, which is pretty cool. Wouldn't have, I think I've seen this experiment before, but never really knew what was in it. So here we go. So I told you all the ingredients. So you create one mixture which consists of hydrogen peroxide, dish soap, and food coloring. Sorry, one of the other ingredients for the color. That's the first mixture. So the second mixture is yeast and warm water, which you don't want to combine until you want to see the actual experiment, because if you combine them together, it will just have a little bit of an explosion of froth, if that makes any sense. So after observing and doing this experiment, when combining the two mixtures, it becomes like a toothpaste consistency or foam, kind of like what we use when we go through like a car wash, the colorful foam. So when these two mixtures are combined, there's this kind of force that brings the foam out of the container, which was cool to me. As well, when I was looking throughout the video, the increase of concentration of hydrogen peroxide increased the force as well. So there was some more propulsion to make this kind of explosion happen even quicker when the two combinations of mixtures were connected. There was a lot more spilling out and, as I said before, force out of these higher concentrations. As well, there was another added chemical in the video that we couldn't do really because we don't have accessibility to that. So with having the yeast and the hydrogen peroxide and the color combination made it more or less dangerous, because the chemical they use, I can't remember off the top of my head, creates this solution to be have a temperature of, it's more hot, so which that could be more dangerous. But here's kind of an explanation of what went on chemically. So the hydrogen peroxide breaks down into oxygen and water. As the small amounts of hydrogen peroxide generates a large volume of oxygen, the oxygen quickly pushes up out of the container. So that was that force that came, that explosion of having something pop out of the container, which was kind of cool. So when you know the mechanism and like what different chemicals react with different and make some kind of cool reaction, I think that makes it even better to do an experiment. There's a lot more observation. So the soapy water traps the oxygen, creating bubbles, which turns into foam. So if this makes any sense, so we have the hydrogen peroxide breaks down to oxygen and water. Then those small amounts of hydrogen peroxide generate a volume of oxygen, which pushes up. So just even in that creation, it changes its mechanism, or it's changing forms. Then the soapy water traps the oxygen, which creates bubbles, which then, with a lot of bubbles, becomes foam. So when you're thinking about hydrogen peroxide, a lot of times we see when it touches anything on your skin or there's blood, because that has oxygen in it. So it's creating these bubbles. So when hydrogen peroxide, yeah, it touches blood, there's creates of bubbles, or if it even touches, I'm trying to think what else. Like anything that has oxygen related in it, there's this reaction, which I thought was cool because thinking about when you cut yourself and you put hydrogen peroxide to clean it out and everything like that, there's these bubbles that are created. But in a fun fact, when we're doing this experiment, since we have this soap that traps all these oxygen molecules that are created by the hydrogen peroxide because it's breaking down into the water, it makes it interesting because it creates this force of like foam, and I'm like, which is cool. I think that's cool, and it's, as I said before, there's a lot more observation to this experiment, and I'd be interested in doing maybe in a lab the other experiment with the other chemical to see the bigger explosion. So thank you guys for listening to me, and the video and the PowerPoint will be in the submission. Bye.